Hi everyone and welcome back to Fantastic Fermentations, your home for all things homebrew. I am Ricky, and if you are being very observant, you'll notice I have an empty glass. So that can only mean one thing. Time for a tasting. So hang tight, I'm gonna get this beer poured up. We're gonna get some tasting notes. Alright, so before we get going on this tasting, if you are new to the channel and you like what you're seeing so far, just go down, hit that subscribe button, make sure you hit that bell so that you get notified when we add new content. A lot has changed, a lot has happened since I brewed this beer, what was it, maybe four or 5 weeks ago? 2 weeks ago, my wife and I welcomed baby number 3 into the Phillips household. So we just had a daughter, and I really would have wanted to get this beer tasting and this beer review done before, probably last week, but we've had our hands full and just getting around to it now, which still good. It gave it a little bit more time to condition and clear out, and it is looking good and it is tasting good. So let's hop into some tasting notes. I brewed this California Common, and I brewed it to balance out my spring tap list. So currently on tap for spring, I've got a Saison, I've got a Pale Ale, and then I wanted to add something a little bit with a little bit more malt forward character, but still be good for warm, the warm weather of spring. So I decided to go with California Common, and I went with the California Common. It's a nice clean beer, not too heavy, so still malt forward, but good for warm weather. So let's take a crack at the aroma and the color and the flavor in this beer. So my head kind of dissipated a little, but it's a golden color on the beer, and that comes from the caramel 60 and the caramel 40 combination that I use in this beer. And the head is a nice white. It's pretty crisp white, close to, well, no, not ivory, more so white, but really amazing color on this. I wanted something a little bit darker to kind of contrast the very yellow beers that I have on tap right now, and to kind of get you in the mindset of having a beer that's going to be more malt forward as opposed to hop or yeast character forward like the other ones I have are. So the aroma, I do get slight fruitiness from the aroma, and that is from the temperature of the fermentation. So if you recall from the brew day, I use San Francisco lager yeast, and with California Common, you're going to take that lager yeast, and instead of fermenting it at a lower temperature, you're going to ferment at a higher temp. That's going to give off more fruity esters instead of the clean crispness of a usual lager. So I do get some of that in the aroma, some nice fruity esters, more like a stone fruit kind of ester in this one. So smells really good. It's not overpowering. I thought it was going to be a little bit too much because my fermentation fridge, the relay blew out on it on day 2 of fermentation. So instead of the 65 degrees that I wanted to ferment it at, it fermented somewhere closer to 70 degrees, which that's a pretty big swing in the brewing world. But it didn't go too crazy. The esters are still subdued, and I finally got a new relay in from Amazon, so that's been taken care of. But yeah, it's got a nice estery aroma with the fruit. Don't get much hop aroma on this one, and I probably shouldn't. I didn't dry hop this, and I didn't have any flame out hops. I did have some late edition hops, but nothing that was really aromatic. So mostly earthy, floral kind of things, and I could potentially say that I get some of that, but I don't. But it's not up in the front. So let's have a sip of this and see kind of what the flavors are. So yeah, it's still pretty clean, but I do get those fruity esters in there. It's still a nice crisp, light body beer. Not something that's too heavy. So fits all the criteria that I needed for a malt forward spring beer. I do get some earthiness in it, and that could be from those from the hops. It was Northern Brewer that we use in here. But yeah, it's an amazing beer, and it's great for this time of year where you want something that's not hop forward. You want something that's gonna have some nice toasty, caramelly flavors to it, but not over the top, and it doesn't make you feel like you're drinking something super heavy. Because this is still sessionable to me. It's a 5.5% ABV beer, so really good. And the bitterness isn't over the top, just enough to balance it out. I really dig it. So yeah, if you're looking to brew a beer that's malt forward for warm weather, try brewing the California Common. Hit my guys up over at Atlantic Brew Supply, and you can get this recipe. They'll send it right to you if you're local. They're still not, due to COVID-19, the shop still isn't open for foot traffic. But what they will do is, if you order online, they do have curbside pickup for all of the local people. But hey, if you're not local, go up there, build the recipe out, and get them to ship it to you. They ship it really quick. And I got the recipe for you down in the description. So I'll link that there so you can go online and build it up. If you're also looking for other beers that you can brew that are malt forward for warm weather, I would suggest something like a Scottish Light, or also even any of the English bitters. English beers are usually malt forward, and they work really well. They're light in the body and great for warm weather. So I would suggest either of those two if you can't get all the stuff for the California Common. But yeah, hit me up in the comments if you have any questions about those styles. I got some recipes for you. But until next time, keep mashing.